Yeah, and
That's
maybe you can just jump in on that a little bit. So sorry there, Luz. One of the comments that you mentioned was when do you consolidate at one CDMO, right, versus another? And I agree, from a pure supply chain perspective, we always try to really have universal drug substance, universal drug product, and try to differentiate in packaging. That said, there are often regulatory changes that happen, where you're having a second gen process and then you're trying to bifurcate your supply chain. One of the key considerations that I've learned, and especially it's been both on the small and the large molecule side, is volume. Certainly helps, right? So your batch size at drug product makes a big difference based on the markets that you're actually supplying to. So you typically don't want to split a drug product batch to multiple locations that has to then be import tested in multiple places. But it also becomes a function of the type of product you're outsourcing. So I see a lot of opportunity when you look at a product that is a high volume global product that, perhaps you can have multiple DS, DP, CDMOs. But when you start thinking about low volume, and I think Manny, you brought it up when you're looking at even a smaller company with a small addressable patient population, it's a real challenge, right? To be able to split that volume and have sufficient, I'd say, number of runs, number of campaigns to make it efficient at multiple CDMOs. And so when we think about the vaccines business, for example, it's with a high volume, broad population, something that you're making over and over again. I think it fits very well with multiple CDMOs where you can split your batches, or you don't have to split batches. Or you start looking at how do I reduce the incremental or the batch sizes, so I don't run into those conflicts of, wow, I took the same batch and it went, three different pads, and the quality or something, uh, was tested differently. One of the key sort of supply chain drivers is we always say, make where you sell, right? Source where you make. And for a regionalized supply chain, you could do that, right? And say I have a US, if you think about the tariff resilience piece right now, I have a US based supply chain, I might have a European and EMEA, Asia Pacific, or China for China or Japan for Japan type supply chains. That's where I found, you tend to encounter multiple CDMOs. But I'm with you, Fi. As much as possible, we've tried to keep drug substance and if possible, drug product limited to one or two CDMOs.